Hey everybody, welcome into the podcast. It is now just 1 minute after midnight on the 18th of November. It's been a little bit of time since I podcasted. I just wanted to do one this week. Finally, I moved in to the new place, but I'm not completely unpacked. I have so much stuff in my front living room just strewn about on the floor. But I dug out the computer and all that and decided I wanted to run a podcast. It's been kind of a crazy month for me. Moving is stressful and I hate it, honestly. But I love the new place. I love being in it, and it's so big. I mean, it's 2 stories. It's got a basement. And I literally spend all my time in the master suite. So the bathroom and the bedroom up here. Run down to the kitchen, run back up. I walk through the front room to come in and out from work. But that's honestly about it. I'm excited to get more stuff in here. Move some of the gym equipment stuff. Make some purchases. I gotta make some purchases for the front room because currently I don't have any furniture that will go in there. It's just money, man. It's been weird, I guess, for a number of reasons. I don't even know where to start. I think I'll start with this though. I've had some issues with spending and money and budgeting and just not being very good at it. Because I've never really had to. I always have just been able to deal with it, and if I need money, I make it happen one way or another. Or it's that, oh man, I got $7 till payday. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna eat ramen noodles. And I make it work. But with the moving, there's all these expenses that you don't even realize, like cancellation fees for different things, like the internet. Startup fees for things like another internet, the gas, electric. I used to live in a city with its own power company, so I had Murray Electric, and moving to West Valley, then I'm back on Rocky Mountain Power. So I was really on top of it. I switched. I reopened my Rocky Mountain Power account from when I lived here previously, and then I completely forgot that I still had a Murray one. So I finally got a call and they were like, hey, we noticed we got a bill back with a return address. And we were just wondering if you moved. I was like, oh yeah, my bad, forgot. I'm like, go ahead and send that bill. Just send it to my new forwarding address. Here's my forwarding address. But I've been paying for power on that for half a month. I'm like, oh man, come on. Come on. I've been paying on 2 power bills for this whole time. I had to pay the internet. I still have to pay the cancellation fee and the final bill on my CenturyLink. Because this place has Comcast. And when I set it up, it ended up being cheaper than the CenturyLink. So I've been paying all these bills. I paid my phone bill, paid the HOA fees, and then I was like, man, I'm finally good. It's going to be tight. I got paid last week. I got 2 weeks to go till my next paycheck, and I have $70. I was like, this is rough. This is going to be tough. Then I was like, oh, I forgot that I have to get gas to drive myself to work. So I got gas. I'm like, now I have $30 to my name. What I didn't realize was that my power bill had not pulled out yet. So then it pulled out. And suddenly I was looking at negative $39. I literally had no money. I owed money at that point. And it's an awful feeling, What didn't make this situation very, ideal, I guess, was the fact that earlier that week, I'd gotten some shoes in the mail. Now, to people who don't understand all the ins and outs. I don't purchase every pair of shoes that I get. Sometimes I trade. Sometimes, well, that's about it. Sometimes I trade. But when I don't have extra money, then I look at it and I'm like, maybe I can sell some of my other pairs and actually purchase, these ones that I want. And a pair came up that I just needed to have. A lot of people were like, oh, you didn't need it, you wanted them. I was like, oh, this was a need. I needed these. And so I sold other shoes in order to get it. So that's where that money came from. This is before I realized I was negative. Got another pair of shoes in a trade. And so I had these shoes on my Instagram and like my Snapchat. And I was talking to someone who I consider to be a friend. We've known each other for a while. And their whole thing was just coming at my whole life about shoes and about how I was buying all these shoes and how if I had money, I wouldn't be hurting for money. And I was like, hold on, pump the brakes for 1 second. Not once did I ask you if I could borrow your money. Not once did I even complain about the fact that I was negative. All I said was, man, this is tough, but I got to figure it out. This sucks. So I figured it out, worked my way out of the red. I still have a week before payday. It's actually like 5 days because of the holiday. Get paid on Wednesday next week. Kind of cool. But the whole thing just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And you think about it and you're like, what does this person get off telling you what to do with your life? And I've realized this more and more the past month. I love my parents, but sometimes they do things and say things that drive me absolutely nuts. And that was one of the things. When I talked to them about this money issue, their strategy was for me to sell my shoes because they're worth hundreds of dollars. And I was like, honestly, not many of them are. And my dad's response was basically like, why even invest money into something that isn't an investment? And I was like, good point. But this is a hobby. This is not an investment. I don't look at shoes as an investment. If I did that, I wouldn't wear them. So I hate when I argue with my parents because I know what they're saying is 100% true, but it's not necessarily 100% true for my life and my existence. And they're old-fashioned, so they don't understand some of the things that I do just because I do them, So that was kind of a rough bit. The second thing that's been rough was just the moving in process. Let me tell you, as America grows, everything else grows. The people in America grow bigger and bigger. Appliances get bigger and bigger. So I'm trying to move my new appliances into the house here. Tried moving the fridge in. Newsflash, the fridge is too wide for the doorway. I was like, oh, that's great. That is awesome. I can't even get the new appliance into the house. End up having to take the door off. It's a huge, huge deal. The thing weighs a ton, first off. Fridges they're hefty and awkward. Finally get it in with the help of one of my buddies and my dad. We finally get that in there, and my dad's about ready to plug it in, and one of the prongs is bent on the power cord, and he's like, oh. So he just bends it back into place. When he does that, it just snaps off. And I was like, oh, great. So we call up an appliance place. We're like, hey, do you have a replacement cord for this? And they're like hemming and hawing. They're like, well, let me go look. And then the guy comes back. He's like, oh, that's an old model fridge. We don't carry that. They don't have a standalone cord for that. And I was like, well, that's awesome. That serves me right, I guess, for going the cheap route and getting used appliances. I don't care about that because money saved is awesome. My dad, he's an engineer. He's like, we can handle this. Go to the store, the hardware store. He picks out this appliance cord, just a standard appliance cord, some twist caps, and electrical tape. Comes in, splices this new cord on, plugs it in, fridge works great. I'm like, man, skill. Talk about skills. First off, I didn't even know he could do that, but he just made it work again. I was like, that's awesome. Getting the washer and dryer up the stairs was awful. When I move out of this place, I say when because I have a feeling I won't be here permanently. It's nice, but there's some things about it that are just, eventually I won't want those. When I move out, those appliances are staying put. They will be included in the sale price of the townhome because there's no way I'm trying to move those ever again. Me and my sister and my dad were able to get them up the stairs. I felt like I was going to have a hernia or something trying to get it up the stairs. I gave every bit of strength that I had and got them up the stairs with them. So then my buddy came on a Saturday to help me move in some of the final stuff. Jim Nut, dude. He's a big boy. And he helped me move the washer. First off, the washer weighs a couple 100 pounds. Get that into the closet, and then he was able to help me get the dryer up on top of it, because they're stacking. And I was like, man, I don't know if I could have done this with just my family. My dad's 5'7", and he's almost 65 years old, and my sister, while she's very strong, she's like what, 5'3", 5'4", so it just logistically there was not room, for her to help. And I finally get him in, and it took about a week, but then I was like, I gotta do some laundry. I've never used these washer and dryer in my life, so I'm like, okay, just follow the instructions, push buttons. Well, my washer, it wouldn't drain, so I got stuck with all this water in the washer. And I was watching these videos, and they're like, this is some reasons why your front load washer may not drain. And I went through them, and I was like, okay, if I do this and I do this, I pulled this little lever thing, and all this water started coming out, and I was like, oh, great. So I'm mopping that up. I have these buckets of water. I think what happened was I filled the washing machine too full. It doesn't have the capacity that my other one did. Didn't realize that. So it was like, okay, got to do smaller loads. Whatever. I have this soaking wet stuff. I put it in the dryer. Start the dryer up. The closet becomes a tropical rainforest. It is so humid in there. And then suddenly, the little smoke detectors in the house all start going off, beeping. I'm looking around. I'm like, there's no smoke in here. There's water vapor, but there's not smoke. It's hot in here now. I don't really know what those sense. I don't think they just sense smoke. I think it's like heat and vapors or something. But I was like, oh my god, this is not happening to me right now. And so I open it up and I take it all out. And I have wet clothes hanging on everything. Like laying on the bed, laying on the floor. And I'm like, I gotta go to work. I'll deal with this when I get home. And I finally, when I got home, I was upset. Like, I was upset all during work. I was like, why is this happening to me where I cannot figure out what is wrong? And I just could not sleep. So I looked at it and I was like, maybe if I try venting it differently. So I went and got the dryer vent from my old washer and dryer, which were in the garage, and hooked it all up and kind of twisted it around and finally got the dryer to work. And I was like, yes, that's a win, and so in the course of about 24 hours, I figured out the washer and the dryer. So it wasn't a big stressor, but it was, at the time, the end of the world. And I wanted to punch someone in the face. I wanted to scream at someone. Not handling the stress very well. I've been happy to be in my new place. I was really excited. Let me give you some background. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this, but I think I want to. So, I started seeing a girl a couple months ago, and for me, instant chemistry, and just, she's awesome. Like, I loved spending time with her. I felt like we had these like common interests and things just felt really good. And what's weird to me is that there were so many things that she had in common with my ex-girlfriend. And so now I kind of wonder, like, maybe that's why there was such this instant strong attraction, because it was exactly what I was used to. And I don't think that's a bad thing. A lot of people are like, oh, why would you compare me to your ex-girlfriend? But it's like, I wasn't comparing the bad parts. It was all these things that were good that you had in common. Things that I like and things that I think that I would look for going forward in a girl. And the situation is difficult because it was such a situation that I wasn't really forthcoming with the relationship. And I don't think there was a moment where we're like, we are now in a relationship, because I couldn't tell you like an anniversary date. I couldn't come up with that, you know? All I knew is that I had real strong feelings for her, and I felt like that was reciprocated. And it made me happy. Like, all the time. All the time you hear all these people and they're like, be happy being single, you know, you got to be single first and work on yourself before you can be in a relationship. But it's like, for me, being in a relationship is so awesome. I love it. I don't have to worry about other people other than that one other person. I'm not trying to talk to a whole bunch of girls. I'm not trying to, you know, oh, am I going to get with this girl? Is this long term? Is this going to work out? It's like, well, nope, this girl is the one I'm with, and I'm happy about it. The nature of the relationship was a little bit different, and I'm not going to go into details on that. But we had an arrangement, and it was different. But it was comfortable for me, and I assumed it was comfortable for her. And I'll say her name's Aubrey. And so I was pretty happy with what was going on. And we had our issues. And the biggest thing that I realized when things went south, a lot of it had to do with communication. And a lot of it was my fault, you know? And I kick myself for that, because I'm like, this is the same problems that I addressed in previous relationships. These are problems that I went to counseling about to discuss with someone, you know, that could tell me, like, this is what you need to do. This is what has to happen if you want to have a successful relationship. You have to have these certain qualities for communication. And communication was really hard. And the way it all went down and ended was not ideal for me. But is it really ever? I mean, I think that the idea that you have mutual breakups and exes go separate ways and then everything is fine is such a pipe dream. It doesn't happen. How I Met Your Mother is not real life. Like Ted and Robin, okay? Oh, we tried dating and we broke up and now we're best friends still and we're all this little happy group and we're fine with it. It's like, that doesn't happen in real life. And so it was hard for me to understand what was happening, because in my mind I had an idea of what we had and what we were going to have moving forward. I mean, this was someone that I plan on moving in. You know, we discussed the idea that this was our future, our townhouse, and our lives, and what were we going to do with these rooms, and what were we going to do moving forward. And so to have someone tell you that, you know, you're not invested in the future and you're not long term and you just want someone to be yours was a little bit hurtful. And I lashed out. Again, it's kind of hard because I see these patterns and I'm like, you're a real piece of shit sometimes, dude. This is why things don't work out for you, because these patterns emerge time and time again. And you have to end it. You have to stop this. And so there's not really anybody to blame but that, you know? But I think more than anything, I saw again that somebody cared about me. Somebody, we said we loved each other. It's only a couple months, but it felt really real. And I feel like I know what that feels like at this point. I'm getting old. Older anyway. It upsets me a little bit that I have these same issues still, even now, after counseling, after all sorts of things. And I realize it's because I've gotten kind of away from doing the things that make me better, feel better, I guess. With all this moving and stuff, I really quit a lot of the meditation and things like that. And so now I'm like, what kind of role did those play in my life? They must have been significant, because my thoughts have been much more negative. My actions have not been appropriate, I guess. And so I'm like, that's where I need to get back to. I need to get back to a center to where I'm happy, where things work out for me, because wallowing in self-pity never helped anybody. And it doesn't matter what my feeling is on the breakup or whatever, because ultimately I didn't handle it well, and it didn't work out. And what can you honestly do about that? You can scream and shout and beg, but if someone doesn't want to be with you, then someone doesn't want to be with you. And I've always thought about this, because it's like, you sit there and you try and convince someone to be with you. And I go back, I might have said this on podcasts, but you always hear people, you struggle in relationships and all this. And I think that that's kind of correct. But sometimes I don't think that relationships should be as hard as they are. And I think when they are that difficult, it's not supposed to happen. That wasn't the case with this one, which hurts even more because I felt like I was so blindsided by it. But that doesn't change the fact that I care deeply about her, and who knows what the future happens? What happens? Who knows? I can't sit here and profess that I do know. All I know is that I have work to do. I have serious work to do. So that was hard for me, man. It's devastating, kind of feeling that way. But all you can do is just kind of pick yourself up and, hope for the best. So, crazy November. Thanksgiving is a week away. It's literally, actually less than a week away. And I'm excited because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. My favorite holiday because I love to eat. And I love football. And I love spending time with my family. Probably not any order to those. I'm not going to say that was the correct order. But I will get to spend time with my mom and my dad on Thanksgiving. Sometimes we do a big thing with the rest of my sisters and extended family, but I think this year it's pretty low-key. Both my grandparents have passed. My aunt and uncle are doing Thanksgiving together with my cousins. And My one sister's going out of town. I don't know what my other sister's doing. I might see her on Thanksgiving. And then the faraway ones, I mean, they don't travel out here for Thanksgiving. We got big families. And so it'll just be me and my mom and dad. And I'm excited because I always have really good conversations when I talk to them. It's two of the smartest people I've known. And while I can't talk about everything with them that I, have in my brain, a lot of this podcast stuff, like my parents ask me about it a lot. They're like, "Can we listen to your podcast?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, maybe." But I'm like, I swear on this podcast, I talk about drinking and weed and sex. I'm like, no. I am still in that mindset. I don't wish my parents to know that much about my life. And for some people, they're like, "That's weird because my parents know everything about me." I'm like, I don't want to kill my parents. I don't want to give them a heart attack. I don't want to bring them any more sadness that they might feel. I just don't. And so God forbid they ever find my podcast and listen to all the episodes. It's that way with my siblings too. My sisters asked me about what my podcast name was and where can she find it and all this stuff, and I've just skirted the issue. My podcast is for the people who listen, and maybe someday my siblings will listen. There's a good chance that my nieces or nephews that are old enough and tech savvy, they'll find it, but yeah, that's fine, I guess. They don't need to hear it either. I try to be my best version of myself when I'm around family. It's crazy to me where we're at right now. I'm almost 27 years old, and I kind of look at that and I'm like, where did I think I was going to be when I was 27? Say, back when I was 16 years old. No, let's do 17. So, if I had looked 10 years into the future, I saw a very different future. When I was 17 years old, I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. And now, I'm like, why would I have ever wanted to do that other than the money? I had no idea what it would take to be an anesthesiologist. I knew that there was a lot of school, and I'm like, well, so I graduated from high school at 18, not planning on going on a Mormon mission. So I'll probably graduate with some credits. So I might have my associate's degree in a year. That puts me at 19. Finish up a 4-year degree by the time I'm 22. From 22 to 26, I do 4 years in med school. Is it 4 years? I don't even know anymore. I used to have this whole planned out. So I'm 26 years old, 27, 28, I would be an anesthesiologist. 28 years old, I'd be an anesthesiologist. I would be making money. I would probably be married and have 2 children. This was my thought when I was 17 years old. Isn't that crazy how quickly things change? I mean, I won't say quickly, but because I've almost been out of high school for 10 years. I've been out for 8 years. And you look at it and it's like, where exactly did life change? I'll tell you where life changed. I graduated from high school. I didn't get a surge tech job, and I got sick instead. I got sick with this liver disease, and that I just lost all motivation at that point. I was like, I just want to finish school and find a job that I can get into. I don't want to work in medicine. And part of that, I was like, I have major anxiety. I'm sick all the time. At that time, I was sleeping like 18 hours a day. Chronic fatigue is no joke. People are like, oh, I'm tired of chronic fatigue. It's like, you don't know. You can barely drag yourself out of bed after sleeping for 18 hours. That's insane. That is insane. I decided then I wanted to do hospital administration, healthcare admin. I started that when I went to UVU. And then I realized I really don't like some aspects of business. My economics class was horrible. It's the only class in college I never passed. I took it twice. And I got D pluses or D minuses both times. I had to have a C plus to pass for the major. So I gave it up. I was like, nope, switching my major, switching to teaching. Well, community health education. I guess my emphasis with health promotion. That decision was made to get me out of college. And from then I've just bounced around. I did data entry when I was in college. Substitute taught. Work. And the most I've done since really is this job testing flat panels, working with my dad. I did the year of surveying houses in South Carolina. A fun experience. That's at that point I realized maybe I do like people more than I let on to. And people always put me into this box. They're like, Sam is so shy. He couldn't do a job like that. But I was like, man, I walked up to homeowners, knocked on their door, talked to them, made conversation, was pleasant. I love being around people. It's something I really enjoy. So now, I'm back to, what am I doing? I don't have any kids. Some will argue that, but that is not important. I don't have a wife. And I don't really have a career. Life is not happening according to my roadmap, And I think vision boards and roadmaps are very important, but you have to remember sometimes you want something that isn't going to happen. And the tough thing with the roadmap is you become so committed to it and you become fixated on, this is what I'm going to do and I'm not going to let anything get in my way. And what happens? You might pass on some really actually put in the time to explore these different avenues. So now I sit here and I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? I still want to teach. But for now, I'm content with where I'm at. And that's content because it's not a terrible job. I make money to pay my bills. I'm good at it. And I don't really need a change yet. But eventually there will be one. And so the more I think about it, it's like I want to get into it sooner rather than later. But life is just so fragile to me. It's crazy that people they die sometimes. Just recently, this rapper, SoundCloud guy, whatever, I don't know if it was SoundCloud or YouTube or Lil Peep, passed away from a drug overdose, and it appeared that it was accidental. And it's like, what do you do in that situation? Do you just get caught up in living and everything about your life, and you make a mistake, and that's it? There's been plenty of nights where I've had those exact same thoughts, like, what if I just did something? What if I don't wake up tonight? It's a scary thought, and then it goes away because I fall into the effects of whatever it was. And then when I wake up, I'm like, oh, alright, let's party, let's do this. And it scared me quite a bit. So I cut out drinking. I haven't had a drink in a little while, actually, maybe a month and a half. Back on the sobriety train with with alcohol anyway. But what do we do if we make a mistake? I feel like I've made a lot of mistakes recently, and I've messed up quite a bit. I feel like I messed up a really good thing with this relationship. Whether or not it ending was inevitable or planned or whatever, I still carry it with me that, like, what if there had been different things that happened in it? What if there had been differences and the things that were highlighted to me as my problems I had done? What if I'd listened better? What if I'd been a better listener? What if I had gotten to know Aubrey as a person even more so and understood where she came from and understood her feelings and made her feelings the priority instead of worrying about how I felt about things? Incredibly selfish. Who knows? Honestly, no one will ever know, because what happens in the past has already happened. You know, sounds stupid. It's like Dr. Phil back in the day. He's like, you need to choose if you want to change. And it's like, well, no kidding. You have to choose change. But I guess I'm not gonna do a long podcast. I kind of wanted to do a sports podcast today. Maybe I'll record a second one. But this one, I just wanted to end it, I guess, with the Thanksgiving theme. And I'm thankful, what I'm thankful for. And honestly, I'm thankful for the opportunities that I've had, that I've been given. Because the road has been pretty easy for me. My parents paid for college, helped me, with this great townhouse, my car, just everything has been laid out for me, it seems. I'm grateful for all the awful experiences that I've had in my life, because it makes the joy that I feel when things are good. I'm like, boy, do you remember that time when this happened? And I'm like, yeah, and this is so much better. And I'm grateful. Let's see, what else am I thankful for? I'm thankful for people in my life who push me to be better and who expect a lot out of me. Because there's a fair number of people who I had in my life who were perfectly fine with accepting mediocrity, and that's well and good. That's fine. But it doesn't help me grow as a person when people around you are like, yeah, man, just do what you're doing. Like, come do what you've been doing for the past 6 years with us. Come do this. And I don't want to do that. And it sounds dumb, but it's like, I'm 26, almost 27 years old. I want to have these experiences. I want to have this life that I had in my head when I was 17. I want to get there at some point. And I'm thankful for people in my life who accept me for who I am. I think what I've learned over this past month is there are so many people in your life who have an opinion of what they want to happen or what should happen or what they think is right. And the more and more you listen to them, the farther and farther away you get from you. And you'll have people who are in relationships who are like, this is what you have to do with your relationship. This is the key to a successful relationship. And it's like, you're trying to tell me all these things because you're in a relationship that works for you. But does it work for me? I don't know. I have all these people, it's like, this is what you need to do for work. You just got to go out there and get this and get money and do this and do that. That works great for you, but doesn't work for me. And the more you try and cater to everybody, the more you lose sight of what you want and need as a person. I want to be the best version of myself. Because I know all the different versions of me. And I'm not happy with a lot of them. And so I'm like, boy, I hope that Sam doesn't come back anytime soon. I hope that Sam, stays on vacation for a long time. Because I don't want to see him. And I'm thankful for I'm honestly thankful for where I'm at right now. Uh, I have a great boss. My parents are great to talk to. I have good friends. I have a good mentor. I had a really good relationship. I was happy. And while it's not happening anymore, it's no longer happening. Like, everything in your life provides you with memories and good ones. And that kind of helps you bridge the gap while you are looking for something else. Whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's jobs, whether it's family, whether it's relationships, anything. So, I hope now I'm going to do more podcasts on Fridays. I'm going to get back into my rhythm. I'm going to meditate tomorrow morning, and it should be great. But thanks again for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.